All right, we are less than 24 hours away from the early signing day period. Georgia has 23 current commitments right now in the 2023 class and a few more prospects still on the board who are going to be making their announcements tomorrow and a big one on Thursday. And I expect Georgia to have a very good day on Wednesday. So this video is about me trying to explain what I expect to happen on Wednesday and Thursday as Georgia tries to close out another top-ranked recruiting class. I don't think they're going to get number one, and that's okay, but this is an easy top three class. Might end up at number two if they get the rest of their guys, on their board, and I think there's a good chance of doing that. So tomorrow, Wednesday morning, starts off early for the Dogs. Daniel Harris, four-star cornerback, former committed to Georgia at the end of June, backed off his commitment in, I believe, mid-November. He's going to be making his final decision 8 a.m. down at Gulliver Prep, Miami, Florida. I think Georgia is going to get him back into the fold. Long, athletic kid who can run 6'2", 175 pounds, 78-inch wingspan. This guy's got long arms, and he can run. And if you have that type of length and you can run 10.7 in the 100-meter, you're a guy that, Georgia wants. That's exactly what they're looking for. Length, cover skills, and overall speed. You have to have it if you want to play in Georgia secondary. Daniel Harris has it. There's a reason Fran Brown, defensive backs coach, went after him so hard. In February, right when he was hired by Kirby Smart in Georgia, he went after Daniel Harris, made him a big-time priority, landed his commitment a few months later. Now it's time to make a final decision, and I think Georgia's going to beat out Penn State for this playmaking. Again, long, athletic, speedy cornerback out of Miami. One of the best in the Miami area, one of the best in Florida. And I think Georgia's going to add his commitment again. Big deal because he can play and the Georgia staff loves him. 49 tackles, 2 interceptions last year. He's a big deal. He's the guy to know. 3 p.m., probably the biggest name, and five-star edge defender, Damon Wilson. 6'4", 235, a natural pass rusher, elite defender. He flashes consistently on film. This is how you draw it up. Now, he could add a little more size, a little more muscle, put on some more mass as he gets to Athens, and I think he'll do that. But he is lightning quick off the ball, uses his quick, fast, strong hands to get off blocks. He can bend. He's flexible. He can get to the quarterback in a number of different ways. Clearly, the biggest freak on the field at all times right now where he is at Venice High School. So he can stop the run with ease. Going to have to, continue to work and develop that, but he has all the raw tools. And I think he does, he is kind of technically sound, if you want to say it that way. He's fundamentally sound. He knows what he's supposed to do. He knows what he needs to do. He just has to continue working at it, going up against, great offensive tackles that he'll be able to go up against. If he commits to Georgia, like I think, this is going to be a big deal. I think Georgia leads Ohio State going into this. At least that's what I'm hearing over the last several weeks. I think most people thought that Georgia kind of took the lead in his recruitment the week after that Tennessee game when Georgia throttled the Vols in Sanford Stadium. Place was electric. He was there in attendance. I wanted that visit high to kind of wear off before I, put out there publicly that, hey, okay, I think Georgia's going to land this kid. But starting really December is when I started hearing, okay, the momentum, kind of the hype around that Georgia visit, where they send his recruitment, it's real. And I think Georgia is going to land him unless Ohio State comes out and offers some crazy NIL program or, whatever opportunity you want to call it. I think Georgia's going to land him. I think that has something to do with it, but a lot of it's development, and Georgia's developing these defenders, and they're going in the first round, and guys are seeing that. So, I mean, Georgia's beating Ohio State for kids, and I think they're going to beat Ohio State for Damon Wilson. Top 25 player in the country, consensus, one of the best players in Florida. Again, another long, athletic, raw pass rusher, edge defender who, you could develop into a possible first-round pick. I think this is an outstanding prospect, and you put him on one side, Samuel Mpemba or Gabe Harris on another, and you've got 3 guys in this class who can really attack the quarterback with athleticism off the edge and length and quickness and the ability to close the pocket and, bring the heat on the quarterback. That's what you have to have. Multiple guys who can do that, and Georgia's bringing multiple guys in this class. So Again, I think Georgia is going to land 5-star edge Damon Wilson over Ohio State at 3 p.m. tomorrow. We'll see if I'm right. We'll see if I'm right, but I'm hearing Georgia sits in the best spot right now. Kyron Jones, former NC State commitment, backed off that commitment on Monday, took an official visit to Georgia earlier this week, plays running back for Charlotte Christian. Yeah, Charlotte Christian, I believe it. Kind of a smaller, school, small program, but he ran wild, 1,200 all-purpose yards, 14 touchdowns. But Georgia, I've been told, likes him at defensive back. That's where he was offered by Fran Brown. He's the lead recruiter there, from what I'm being told. So, he's a 6 foot, 200-pound guy. So he's kind of a heavier, defensive back. He'll probably play that safety or star position, but he's got speed. He's a 10-6 guy in the 100-meter, 4.43 he claims in the 40, so he can run at 200 pounds, and there's a lot to like about what he can bring to the table. I think he's a little raw still, is going to have to be developed a little bit. And, I think that's clear for a guy at a smaller program who plays both ways. Once he can focus on playing one position at the next level and continue to work and develop his craft and figure out, this is what I need to do to be the best at this position, not just be an athlete who can do it all. I think he has the potential to be really good. But when you can run and you've got some mass on you already and you're kind of versatile, I don't think he'll play cornerback, but he can play some star, play some safety, tackles well, and he's an athlete. If you watch him run the ball, he's a slasher. He breaks a lot of tackles. He runs with balance. So he's one of the best athletes in that area in Charlotte. Absolutely one of the best two-way players in the Charlotte area. But there's a reason Georgia offered him a little later in the process. Took official visits to Georgia and I believe Nebraska last weekend. But I'm hearing that, I was told that, hey, if this kid decommits from NC State, he's definitely a guy who I think is looking Georgia's way. Thought he might be a plan B option. If they land Daniel Harris in the morning, like I spoke about earlier, that would give them 5 defensive backs. Kyron Jones would make 6. But once he decommitted from NC State, that's when I said, okay, this is real. If he has a spot at Georgia, I think he's going to take it. He might not play early, but he's a guy who has the traits to become a quality defensive back if he's developed properly. So the tools are there. He's a super smart kid. He's had offers from multiple Ivy League schools. So he's a brainiac. He's smart, high IQ kid who's not going to, give you any trouble off the field. He's going to understand the playbook and understand his role, what he's supposed to do. So he's got it mentally. He's a state champion in the 100 meters as a junior, so he's got the speed. He's got a muscular frame, 6 foot. I think he's a little taller, between 6 and 6'1", and 200 pounds. So that's a solid athlete who could run, who's got muscle and is really smart. So there's, he's got a lot of qualities that you really like. So if they can turn him into a, possible starter defensive back down the road, that just shows how good Fran Brown is and Kirby Smart. But we know what they do. They develop guys, and I think if he's developed properly, he could be a name that Georgia fans learn a lot sooner than later when he gets to Athens. Right now, I think that's going to be the pick. I'm still trying to figure out a time when that is. I think it's in the morning. Not sure. Trying to update that on Dog Post, but when he decommitted from NC State, I thought Georgia has a real chance. So I expect Georgia to land him tomorrow. I'm making this at 8:36 on Tuesday. A lot of stuff can happen in the next, 24 plus hours with some guys making their announcements later in the day on Wednesday. But this is just what I'm hearing right now. Things can change. And if they do, make sure you're on Dog Post. Another guy I want to talk about, Jordan Hall. He goes 2:30 p.m. on Thursday. 106 tackles, 31 TFLs, 9 sacks, 6'5", 300 pounds. It looks lean, too. I saw him in person. I believe it was the Auburn game. Yes, let's go with that. He was easy to notice across the field, and you're looking at him being like, man, he could probably add 20 more pounds and still, really look the part and look well enough to play. But interior defensive tackle out of Westside High School in Jacksonville. Didn't play for a great team, but he was bullying kids. There's a reason Georgia has been after him all year long. You match him up with Jamal Jarrett. You've got a dynamic interior defensive line duo and one of the best in the country. Put those elite linebackers behind him. Put Damon Wilson, Sam Pimple on the edge with Gabriel Harris as well. You've got an all-star quality defense and a defense that could continue this elite Kirby Smart defense that we see each and every year. These players have the capability to do that. LSU, I think, came on strong for Jordan Hall. Alabama, Florida State was his childhood favorite team growing up. I've liked Georgia for months now, and I think Georgia's going to land him on Thursday. So I expect him to commit to Georgia right now and sign with them over, those other programs. So, again, I guess anything can happen. He's been very quiet about his recruitment, been trying to trust my sources down there in Jacksonville as it relates to Jordan Hall. But I do think that he's going to pick Georgia on Thursday. So those are 4 guys that I think are going to add, to Georgia's class and sign and, be part of this group. A guy that I do have my eye on, though, is Bo Hughley, 4-star offensive tackle out of Langston Hughes High School in Atlanta. I flirted a little bit with Auburn during the season. I think took a visit out there. I think they're still pushing him, the new staff over there. Flirted a little bit with Colorado, was up in Boulder last weekend, I was told. So, always kind of tough to say no to Deion for a lot of these young kids who didn't even watch him play. But, the Deion, stigma, people know about Deion Prime, who he is. So, watching Colorado a little bit here, it would not surprise me to see him flip right now at 8:38 Tuesday morning. I think Bo Hughley is going to stay in this class, but hearing a little bit of smoke that he might be flipping elsewhere. So something to keep an eye on and something that I'll have my eye on for over the next 24 hours. Right now, I'm going to say that he sticks in this class, but definitely a guy to know about. So that's how I see it happening tomorrow. I don't expect this to be completely right because it's signing day. Crazy things happen. There's always something that I don't expect that happens. More often than not, I think I do a pretty good job of trying to tell y'all what I think is going to happen. Most of the time it turns out, but there's always something. I mean, it's signing day. There's going to be chaos. There's going to be surprises that happen. So, if all 4 of those guys commit to Georgia, it's what I expect right now. Will it happen? I'm not sure. There's always some crazy stuff that goes down, but just trying to let y'all know, as Georgia fans, I assume, watching this, who Georgia could land tomorrow and on Thursday. So keep up to date with Dog Post. We're going to have a live news thread on signing day over on Dog Post. When guys are signing, on board. There's guys on campus already that I'll be talking about and writing about. So everything you need to know about signing day and other transfer portal additions, possibly in the near future, head on over to Dog Post. I'm going to try to keep you updated as much as I can. Thanks for watching this video. As always, stay tuned to the next one coming up right now, and I'll see you over on Dog Post.